How much would you say your early experiences with money influence and shape your current decisions about money? A little? A lot? None at all? Well, the truth is that probably 80% or more of your current money decisions and view of how the world works are influenced, for better or worse, by your own personal money history, especially while you were growing up. It's an interesting subject that is worth talking about because knowing how your own past experiences with money can influence your current decisions about money can help you as you go about making the many money decisions that you will be required to make. By being aware of your learned and experienced money beliefs, you'll probably have a much better chance of making a decision that will help you, not hurt you. So, what do you say we talk about the fundamentals of how your early life experiences with money shape your current money decisions? Hello again, it's Mark with Money Fundamentals, and we're back with another video to help you gain the essential money knowledge you need for life. Now, you'd probably agree with me when I say that people do some pretty wacky things with their money. From living in a shack, saving every penny, and leaving millions to charity or a family member, to the other end of the extreme, which is making millions and millions and blowing it all on Lamborghinis, yachts, and mansions. It sure seems that people do make some pretty wacky / crazy / stupid decisions with their money. But remember, the person making that wacky decision, they're doing something with their money that probably makes perfect sense to them based on their own experiences with money. Everyone has had a different history with money. My guess is that you've had a completely different series of interactions and experiences with money than your friends, co-workers, parents, and even your spouse or partner. All of our lives, up to where we are currently, has an impact on how we see the world and the decisions we make, financial and non-financial. We are a current representation of our life and experiences at any point in time. So I think that it's important to remember that because it has a significant impact on how we see the world. When we realize this, I think it can give us a little more insight into why we might be making the decisions we are making. Many people forget or ignore what's happened to them in the past, thinking that since they're older and wiser, they have learned better how to deal with money. Probably not. Because in fact, research by economists has shown that people's decisions about money and investing are very heavily based on their experiences in their own generation. In other words, experiences in their early adult life have significant impact on how people make money decisions later in life. So, what kind of experiences might have such a long-lasting effect? Here's just a few factors that could greatly impact our views about money, how it works, and what it can and can't do for us. First off, when were you born? The time you were born makes a huge impact on how you view money over the years. For example, people born during the Great Depression, oftentimes called the silent generation, and that's probably most of your parents and maybe grandparents. Well, those people came of age during the rationing and everything that kind of was going swirling around World War II and right after World War II into the 50s. As a result, many of these people tend to be fairly conservative and very frugal. They tend to save everything. I can remember my mother as a kid saving the wrapping paper off of Christmas presents. She would trim off all the torn edges and fold up what was left and save it for next year. That's an influence and a result of what she experienced growing up as a child in the 30s and 40s. People born in the 60s, that's me. For us, my generation, growing up, inflation and the economy, the gas lines of the 70s and 80s had a huge impact on how we see the world and how the economy works. What if you are a Gen Xer, born in the 70s and into the 80s? Well, you've probably grown up and seen, especially in early adulthood, one of the greatest bull markets and surging economies that we've ever experienced. That probably has an impact and an influence on how you think about things today. What about if you were born in the 80s or the 90s? It could be millennials, Gen Z at this point. Today, here in 2022, the inflation that we're seeing currently is probably the first time that you've ever encountered that in your life. This is the first time that inflation has been a factor. And it's probably the first time that the stock market has gone down more than it's gone up. So my guess is that's probably having an impact on how you see things at this particular point in life. So outside of the time period that you just happen to be born in, which has a huge influence on how you kind of see the world, the other thing that factors into it a lot of times is what economic level did you come from? In other words, what level of economic success in terms of money and income were you raised in? If you came from lower income, chances are that there was never really enough money. Immediate impacts from anything that went on in the economy would have an impact on the ability of your parents and those around you to maybe earn an income. Money was probably always tight. That makes a big difference on how you kind of see things. On the other hand, if you came from a middle class or middle income or a higher income level, there's usually enough money, but maybe you still need to be a little cautious here and there. If you're coming from a higher income level, there's probably always been enough money. Lifestyle's not necessarily impacted by what happens immediately in the economy. And maybe the most influential factor is what our elders and others taught us, or what we learned by observing others as we were growing up. A couple things. Money is a tool that can be used to get what you want. Maybe you learned that money is something only rich people have. How about saving and investing your money is a smart idea? If that was communicated to you, that makes an impact. On the other end, don't trust the banks with your money. How about this? Material things validate who you are, your success. So money is made for spending. Or maybe you have people that said the best way to get ahead is to get a good job. Or maybe the best way to get ahead is to start a business. Or maybe you didn't get anything at all and it was all figure it out on your own. Last is your own personal experiences, whether you've had success with money, bad experiences, or a loss of money. All of those have an impact. And it's important to realize that just about every decision we make with money is justified by taking into account the information we have and plugging it into our own internal view of how the world works. It doesn't matter if that information is wrong. Maybe we were swayed by marketing or less than honorable people, or we have absolutely no idea what we're doing. The fact is, the moment we make these decisions, it makes sense to us. We tell ourselves a story, and that story is one that's been written with our life's experiences. We tell ourselves that story about what and why we're doing whatever it is that we're doing. So, what's the solution? What can we do with all this information? Well, I think there's one key point that we need to take away from all this, and that is that history is not destiny. Just because you've had a bad or even good money experiences in the past doesn't mean that it's guaranteed to continue like that into the future. You do have the power to change for better or worse in the current environment. So it's going to take some work, commitment, and a willingness to be open to potentially new ways of thinking in order to kind of right the ship and start making better money decisions. Here's some things you can do. 1, commit yourself to continual improvement. Don't be afraid to learn. Doing things like watching money fundamentals videos on YouTube is a great starting point. But there's also some great books on money that you can read. Check in the description because I have links to some of them in the description, and I'll be adding to that list over time. Second thing is be open to new ways of thinking about how money works. Just because someone you know or read about says it's this way because, that doesn't mean that it's that way for you. Have a healthy skepticism and seek out alternative views. The third thing is spend some time and begin to clarify what's really important to you and how money can help you get there. Work on building a list of goals, long and short term, that reflect who you are as a person and how you want to live. Then take a look at the money you have available to you now and see how it can help you move in that direction. And remember, as you are faced with money decisions, realize that oftentimes your gut reaction or instinct on what to do is probably coming from your prior experiences with money, your default reaction. Consider this, but don't become locked in to what your gut is necessarily telling you. Use it as a reference point, but examine other possible choices before making a decision if you can. Remember, in the end, it's up to you as an individual to make whatever money decisions you need to make. Take into account your own experiences, but be open to the possibility that what you have learned in the past isn't necessarily the absolute best way. It's always a good idea to seek out the help and advice of qualified professionals before making really any significant money decision. Oftentimes, that second independent opinion can kind of help you see things differently and help you consider other options that you may not have considered before. That's about it for this video. I hope you found that thought-provoking and useful. We oftentimes forget about what we've learned way back at the beginning of our lives as children or young adults, and the impact of that can be fairly significant. So you want to take that into account as you kind of continue to move through life. I hope you found the video helpful. Once again, if you like what you're seeing here and you have not already subscribed, go ahead and do that. Click that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as part of the community here at Money Fundamentals. And also, if you like what you've seen and you want to share it with others, the best way to do that is click that like button, give us a thumbs up. That helps spread the word to more people about the things we're doing here. That's about it for now. Please leave some comments down in the bottom if you've had some experience kind of reevaluating your money decisions based on what you've learned in the past. Or what kind of experiences did you have in the past? What kind of experiences or things were you taught as you were growing up with money? Share that with the rest of us and help everybody learn a little bit more as well. All right, that's it for now. Until the next one, take care.